welcome. My hair looks so good today, I'm not gonna lie guys. I do just keep staring at myself in the viewfinder. Bit of a different video today because I feel like I have done a lot of vlogs just over the past couple of years. It's kind of where I've ended up posting because I like to just film my weeks and film my days because I like having like a little video diary to look back on. That's basically all that I kind of use YouTube for, is video diaries that I can personally watch and that I know my friends love them. They're always like, I only watch the videos that I'm in, and I'm like, yeah, that's so valid. I honestly would be the same. This is kind of something I've wanted to talk about for a while, and I do think it's kind of relevant just because I'm in my third year of university and I think it's becoming more spoken about online, and I wanted to kind of put my 2 cents in, I suppose, and I just think it's nice. I feel like I just need to say, I'm going to be talking about alcohol consumption and sobriety in your 20s and kind of, I guess, this movement towards people becoming more sober curious at a younger age, and also drinking culture at uni. Because I know when I was trying to go sober last year, I read so many articles, I watched so many YouTube videos and like TikToks of other people who were kind of around my age who were also sober or were giving their experiences, and it really helped, and it just gave me so many more insights and ideas I never would have had if I hadn't watched those bits of media. So I thought I would give you my kind of views and my experiences, and I thought that might help at least one person, so cool, good job. I'm in my third year of university and I'm living in Manchester, which is an insanely huge party city. Like, everybody knows it's a good night out. We have so many themed bars, we have so many clubs, and obviously I'm coming to the end of my university era, and university in the UK is such a huge, there's such a huge drinking culture surrounding it, and it can be a lot of pressure actually. So I went to university a year later than everybody else. I took a gap year. Oh my goodness, yeah, funny. Nobody's heard of Millie's gap year before, whatever. I've heard all of the jokes, but I didn't start seriously drinking until I got to first year of university. And I think there is such a pressure when you go and you are in halls and you're living away from home for the first time, especially if you're not somebody that's drunk a lot growing up. I was never really invited to house parties, I never really got involved with alcohol. I was always somebody whose mindset was, I can have fun without it, I don't really need it, so why would I start drinking? And then I got to university, and obviously you're seeing all of these freshers wristbands and all of these events that are being pushed at freshers fairs, and you've got all of these posters in the student accommodation of being like, oh, this themed club night's happening, and oh, it's like £1 shots before 12 AM and all of this. And there's so much marketing and just nights out that are aimed at getting you to spend money on alcohol, and I just think it is so interesting that we as a society, in the UK especially, waste so much on drinking being a good thing and it almost being a competitive thing. The UK as a country and as a culture, online especially, which is where a lot of young people obviously spend a lot of their time, make it almost a competition of who can drink the most, especially with the whole UK versus America. We're saying, oh, you know, you guys can't drink until 21, you know, we drink like litres of vodka in fields at the ages of like 14 to 16, and I just think it promotes this almost drinking is cool, and the more you can drink and the heavier you can drink, the cooler you are. And it's like, even using words such as lightweight to describe people, I think it comes across as almost an insult, and it forces people to drink more than they're comfortable with, or maybe more than they can even cope with, in order to feel like they're fitting in. I know for sure for me, when I was in my first year of uni, I suddenly just went completely off the rails because I hadn't learned to drink in a healthy capacity, because I'd never really drunk before, and I was so scared about making friends. And obviously the narrative online is you go to uni, you do freshers, and you basically just drink away the whole year, and uni are like your party years. So I was going out 4 to 5 times a week, completely just getting so drunk, drinking every single time. It was crazy. Like, it's just so not healthy, but because that's a narrative that you're pushed, and that's the, oh my gosh, can you hear the wind outside? There's a storm going on right now. Yeah, it's kind of scary. This is a narrative that's pushed. You end up just drinking and feeling like there are no other options, because I think it is becoming more relevant in today's day and age, especially in like the last year and a half, but nobody really talks about going sober when you're 20, because it's just seen as this thing of, oh, well, like, drinking isn't a serious thing, like, it's fun, it's a social event, why wouldn't anybody want to drink? But in my first year of university, I developed a really bad relationship with alcohol, and it got to the point where I was having therapy in my first year, and I just said to my therapist, I don't know who I am, I don't like who I become when I drink alcohol, I don't like that I go out all of the time. I was so anxious in myself that I couldn't even leave my flat to go even down to reception in student accommodation. But when I was drinking alcohol, it was fine, because I knew I just wasn't like fully aware, and I was like, oh, well, I'll leave for a night out, but I could barely make myself leave to go to my lectures, which is it's so odd. And I think I came to use alcohol, which I think so many people do this, especially young people who are just first discovering alcohol, and then I think it just kind of continues throughout life, is using alcohol as a crutch for being able to socialize with people, being able to speak with people. I mean, I definitely got to the end of first year and I sort of said to myself, I need to stop drinking, because I don't know who I am without alcohol, and I can't meet new people and speak to new people without having at least one drink in me, which is insane. I also had the issue of not knowing what a good relationship with alcohol was, and I'm still in the debate of, can anybody have a good relationship with alcohol? I think that is kind of where I'm at in my personal journey, I suppose, and it's something I think about and I debate quite a lot. But I was, every single time I was drinking, getting blackout drunk in first year. I just wouldn't remember any of the night, or I can remember the first bit of the night and I can remember the end of the night, but I can't remember like the middle section. And I had quite an eye-opening conversation with my brother over Christmas, and he said, oh, I don't understand when people say they get blackout drunk, like I've never been blackout before. And I just sat there and I thought, oh my goodness, clearly whatever you were doing in first year, not the norm, not healthy. So I came back to my second year of university, had one awful night out, came home from that night out and said, I am not drinking, I'm going sober. And for the majority of second year, I went completely sober at university. Now, going sober in your 20s is such a difficult thing. I mean, it's probably difficult no matter what age you're at, especially in the UK, where I'm like emphasizing the UK drinking culture because that's the experience I've had with it, and I just think it's a lot of pressure, because we have this, oh, like, let's just go to the pub after work, or, oh, meeting friends, nobody ever suggests like a cafe. They always suggest, oh, let's go to the pub on this evening, or, oh, we'll meet at the pub. Oh, pub, you know, we have so many of these things, and drinking at younger and younger ages, and there's a lot going on. But to then be in your 20s and say, oh, I'm going sober, it's a difficult thing to do, and props to anybody that wants to do it and who manages to do it, or even has begun to take the first steps to do it, because it is tough and you're going to face a lot of hurdles and things that you kind of have to overcome, but there are ways through it, you know, there's ways to do it, people out there. But I think the big thing about trying to go sober in your 20s is the fact that people don't really understand it. You're always going to have people who say to you, well, why are you being boring? You know, why are you not drinking tonight? Oh, you're going to ruin the fun, And I think it does stem from people's own insecurities and their own personal relationships with alcohol. But I would have people say to me, oh, so you're being boring tonight and you're not drinking. And I would say to them, well, I actually don't feel the need to drink in order to see my friends, have a dance and socialise. Why do you feel the need for me to have to drink? Like, why is it any of your business? And that would shut them up. They don't like that. You know, when you turn the question back on them, they don't like that, because it's playing on their own insecurities, and that's the reason they've made the comment in the first place. Definitely finding a group of people who can be supportive of you is so major. If I hadn't have had my best mate at uni, Holly, have my back with me wanting to go sober in second year, I don't think I could have done it, because it is difficult and people do make comments, and sometimes when you are going to a club sober, you don't want to be there, or you're going to a house party with a load of people from uni that you've never met because it's like friends of a friend or something. it's difficult to socialise, but it forces you to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And do you know what? The benefits are so awesome. A, you spend so much less money. Oh my goodness. Like a lemonade compared to a pint, or even a free water compared to a pint, bro, it adds up. Like, why are pints so expensive these days? And I'm drinking the cheapest cider I can get, okay, if I drink now. I'm not drinking anything posh. Oh my gosh, the lack of hangovers. This is a thing that makes me not drink nowadays, because I cannot hack a hangover, and I get hungover so easily. I literally have 2 drinks, I'm done for the day. The next day I have a headache, I'm dehydrated, I'm tired, my brain is foggy, my body's tired. Oh my goodness, I hate it. But if you're just staying up late and drinking water or lemonade, it's so chill, you're just kind of tired the next day. However, the other thing is my social battery would just like run out quicker if I wasn't drinking alcohol, or I would get tired quicker, and people would want to be staying out till like 3 a.m. and I'd just be like, nah, and I'd call it a night at 12 or 1, and I would still have had a good enough time that I didn't feel like I was missing out, because I'd still been out, but I also knew I could do stuff the next day without having to completely rule it out. It's just, there are so many benefits that kind of outweighed drinking for me in second year, and I'm so glad I did it. And I think also it really helps if you are somebody that really struggles with, obviously this is not like a, if you are actually genuinely struggling with alcohol, go and seek help and go and find professional help. But if you're just somebody who maybe wants to cut down on how much they're drinking, and you're finding a way that it struggles and you're just kind of looking for a bit of a community, definitely my advice would be try going sober, or try completely just cutting down how many days a week you drink. Like say, oh, I'm only having 1 drink on a Friday evening, for example, because when I went sober and I stopped drinking completely, it taught me what my boundaries were for how much I should be drinking. It almost like reset my body. Oh my gosh, this is the other thing. Alcohol is literally a drug. Like, it's poisonous to your body. That's why you get hungover, and it's so normalized. Like, I don't understand. You know what I mean? I don't understand. I do think it's being brought up in media a lot more. We're seeing this kind of rise of, I think it came with the rise of the clean girl aesthetic, of people going sober and people being sober curious and all of these healthy lifestyles. And I do think as well celebrities are influencing how normal people then live their day-to-day lives, because we're seeing people such as Tom Holland be really outspoken about being sober. I mean, I watched his interview on the podcast, I think with, is it Jay Shetty?
It's interesting. I didn't one day wake up and say, I'm giving up drinking. I just, like many Brits, had a very, very boozy December. Christmas time, I was on vacation, and I decided to just give up for January. I just wanted to do dry January, and all I could think about was having a drink. It's all I could think about. I said to myself, if I can do 6 months without alcohol, then I can prove to myself that I don't have a problem. And by the time I had got to June 1st, I was the happiest I've ever been in my life.
This is kind of, I think, for me, the first big moment I saw quite a popular celebrity talking about being sober. And I think because he's an icon for kind of that Gen Z age, who are all, you know, mostly at that stage where we're beginning to get into alcohol and drink alcohol as part of our life, to see an iconic celebrity for us going sober and releasing a non-alcoholic beer range and saying, you know, he's never going to touch a drink a day in his life, and talking about all the benefits for them, it's so influential for how other people then see alcohol and use alcohol in their lives. Now, I'm not sure if I think the reason it's becoming more popular to be sober or try being sober is because of the age I'm at. I'm nearly 22, I'm 22 in 2 months, and a lot of my friends this year have done dry January. Now, we are in our last year of university. We've kind of had 2 years, 2.5 years now of being quite heavy drinkers and going out quite a lot. And I do think as I'm getting to be kind of early 20s, oh my gosh, no, I'm still early 20s, we're not going into mid 20s yet, but also my friends who are kind of in their mid 20s as well, a lot of them don't drink as heavily because it's just not something they're interested in. And alcohol is expensive these days, going out is expensive, and I do think that's contributing to it. But it's also people discovering other hobbies, such as, I think hiking and being outdoors has become such a huge trend over the last year, and people are beginning to diversify the way that they spend time with friends and things like that. I do drink, and I wasn't participating in doing dry January. However, it's like January the 24th, I want to say today. Let me quickly check the date. Yeah, January the 24th, and I've only drunk twice in like the last 30 days since Christmas, and it's been 4 drinks spread over 2 of those days, so not huge amounts. Sat in my scruffs before work editing this video, but I just wanted to say, since this video has been filmed, I have only drunk alcohol 3 times. It's currently the 2nd of February. I've only drunk alcohol 3 days out of 2025 so far. And I am probably just going to stop drinking now. Like, yes, I will maybe have 1 pint, potentially, here and now. But feeling like that groggy feeling and feeling like out of control in my body and feeling the anxiety after drinking just isn't worth it for me. Even though like the other day I only had 2 drinks and I felt so anxious the whole night, I woke up the next day with insane anxiety. It just wasn't worth it for me. So probably gonna stop drinking in my 3rd year of university. I've had loads of nights out. I've been to parties where I've danced completely sober. That is horrible. It's such, oh god, like you can feel everybody's eyes on you, but once you push past that, nobody actually cares about what you're doing, and obviously as long as you're not hurting anybody. But I was just dancing and I suddenly thought, nobody's looking, nobody cares, because A, pretty much everyone else in here has had quite a lot to drink, so they're all not going to remember this probably, or it's going to be hazy for them. Second of all, the majority of people are so self-conscious that they are only focused on themselves, on how they look and what they're doing. So when you let go of that feeling for yourself and you just think about having fun and think about how can I make this the best possible experience for myself, so much more fun. Like I was literally on the dance floor. People are going to find this cringe, but I was dabbing. I was like, bring back dabbing 2025. I'm all for it. Nobody cares, and it was funny. Me and my friends were laughing. We were having a good time. Essentially, this video has just been me rambling about my experience with alcohol and why I think it's so popular to be sober these days. But I just think it's really helpful if you're thinking about kind of exploring your options to have the knowledge that there are other people your age who don't drink, or who, you know, have other hobbies that aren't just going to the pub. I'm not trying to be in my, oh, I don't drink so I'm so much better than everybody else. Do not think that at all. I just think it's so nice to know that drinking isn't the be all and end all. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can do other things, and your uni experience, this is what I think about a lot, and I have to constantly argue with myself, is I'm only young, I only live once, and I'm only young once, so do I enjoy going out and getting drunk all the time whilst I can still somewhat hack hangovers, even though I can't? Or do I live my life doing more sober activities, not getting drunk as much? Will I regret that in my later years, and will I wish I'd got drunk as much? Or am I fine not drinking? Like, is it that serious? Do you know what I mean? So hopefully this has been somewhat helpful to at least one person, and that you enjoyed my rambling. I don't really know how to wrap up this video, so I'm just gonna say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again at some point. Bye.